Here.
Graham. Lays. Miller.
Here.
McGrath. Heller. Sullivan.
Here. We understand that both Graham and McGrath are landing at O'Hare, and we're expecting them to join us at some point in time during the meeting, and we don't have word on Mr. Lays, but we would expect that he to be here. So, will you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Sean, start us out 207. 207 is best.
207 is best. Maine South's 207 is best for improved academic performance is Gabrielle Villeneuve. If you please stand. Simply pull the statistics on Gabby as she's known around the building. One might look at her attendance, discipline, grades, and conclude she's an average student who may have struggled here and there over her time at Maine South, but that she's definitely doing well. However, you need to get to know Gabby a little bit to truly appreciate why she's the obvious choice at Maine South for improved performance. When we think school, we undoubtedly think about academics, and Gabby struggled a little bit when she started with us at Maine South. She quickly came onto the radar screen at the dean's office from time to time, but that's okay, a lot of our big students do. School wasn't always a priority, but friends and fitting in were, as it is for many of our students. And Gabby struggled with life in and out of school a little bit, which ultimately led to her making some decisions she probably would take back if she had an opportunity to do so. And in fact, Gabby's parents decided to help give her a fresh start by having her spend some time in their native Lithuania over her summer to come and kind of press the reset button for Gabby. And it seems to have worked because Gabby has become one of just a fantastic student, headed in all the right directions at Maine South. She returned to Maine South in her junior year, more mature and focused. When I spoke with teachers who know her, one specifically stated, Gabby's overcome many obstacles during her time at Maine South. She had her ups and downs during her freshman year. She stuck with biology, worked hard, earned a Student of the Month award in science for improving her grade. She's always been very personable, took interest in our classroom topics, and whenever I encounter Gabby now in the third floor hallway, she always tells me how well she's doing in her current science class. She's so proud of herself, and I'm proud of her as well. We're all proud of Gabby at Maine South for many reasons. In particular, she exemplifies the central idea that when things don't go your way, it's not so much the mistake you make, but it's what you do after you've made that mistake to kind of right the ship, which Abby really did for us. She's learned that life is a journey, and she's done a fantastic one here at Maine South, and with the changes that she's made, each day over time she's getting better. And with that, we're very proud of Gabby. She'll be graduating in June, and we would just like to let her and her family know, and the people here tonight, we're very proud to call her one of 207's best. Gabby? Introduce who you brought with you today.
It's my father, Vito, my mother, Natasha, my stepbrother, Vito, and his girlfriend, Marion.
Welcome. Could you let us know what some of your plans are for the future?
College.
Well, we talked a little bit about that. What are you interested in?
Pre-med.
Excellent. That kind of speaks to your biology teacher's comments about it. Congratulations.
Gabby, can you come up and see the superintendent and board member? They have gifts for you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mike.
I am very pleased to introduce to all of you in the room Jesus Cisneros. Jesus. This is the category that I think everybody, when you talk to the teachers, staff at East at least, this is everybody's favorite month because it's always pretty interesting to see the various reasons that names come up in terms of that most improved mark. So when you take a look at Jesus and you think, well, okay, what's this about? He's in the top 20% of senior class, GPA of like 3.57. He's taken AP Macroeconomics, AP Spanish Language. He's taken dual credit Geology, Trigonometry, Probability and Stats, Introduction to Engineering, Total Body Conditioning. It's like, yeah, that's, you know, pretty solid. But then when you take a look at his transcript, I don't think he's had anything lower than a B ever. It's all A's and B's all the way up. The thing that was noteworthy is that he came in initially as a member of our integrated freshman literacy program and was a solid student. I think he had straight A's in that program, but it was a point where he struggled. Again, if you're in IFL, basically it means that your reading skill is what we consider to be below average, but really took advantage of that program and those study skills, having come in with an amazing work ethic. The thing that I've heard about Jesus from, well, we have 9 or 10 individuals that I've quoted here, because if I were going to combine their comments, they're so consistent, you'd probably come up with a little paragraph and think, well, okay, that sounds like a really great guy, but what about that? But again, it's that consistency from people who are not talking to each other in terms of their comments, their experiences, that I think speak very, very highly of him. I know Vic DiPrizio I did not quote, but Jesus has been on Vic's soccer team for quite a while and worked with him. And Vic has a genuine affection and respect for all of his team members, but just absolutely gushes about Jesus in terms of just the nicest, most positive individual who leads by example, who will sort of take all of his team members, his friends, his classmates, and you know, say, hey, come on, you know, we can do this. This is, being successful is, you know, sort of your ticket to success. And a comment that Vic makes is, you know, he would be proud and pleased to have Jesus as a son. And again, I think that's a comment that comes across fairly consistently. In addition to all of this, he works many hours outside of school to help his family, so he's been really responsible outside the classroom, obviously done great work in the classroom, been very successful in the playing fields. I want to read 3 of the excerpts here because I think they triangulate nicely, and absolutely by no pre-planning at all, 2 of the 3 people are in the audience tonight, teachers and staff members that have come to support Jesus. Aida Awad, our science department chair, writes, since we're focusing on the R code, which is being respectful, responsible, and ready, I'm going to comment on Jesus Cisneros in those terms. Jesus came to Maine East as a freshman, ready to make the most of his time, talents, and treasure. He started freshman year in extended and transitional level classes in the IFL program. By sophomore year, he had improved his skills in several content areas and was ready to move up to regular level classes. Not just was he ready to move up a level, but he had taken it upon himself to be responsible enough to learn all A's and B's. By senior year, Jesus was ready for AP and dual credit courses, 3 of them in fact. Clearly, Jesus has taken responsibility for his own learning. Observing Jesus in his geology dual credit class on a daily basis puts emphasis on his approach to school. He shows respect for his peers, his teachers, and his school. He's ready to be a leader in the classroom and in the school. He takes responsibility for his successes and encourages others around him to do the same. Chris Foley, who is a teacher assistant in the IFL program, Maine East grad, and just all around solid individual professional, wrote that I worked with Jesus in his freshman English class, and wow, he's awesome. Jesus is always positive, always prepared, and always inclusive. He helped his fellow students understand their work when they didn't, but never so prideful as not to ask a question. I'm glad I still say Jesus in the halls from time to time. He's always smiling and never misses a chance to say hello. He's a great candidate for District 207's best because he is one of District 207's best. And finally, Shnezhna Solomon in our social science department wrote, I'd like to nominate Jesus Cisneros for District 207's best. Works incredibly hard in AP Economics. His work improves every day as he comes in for tutoring during 6th period. This is Jesus' first AP level class, and his dedication is impressive. I'm so proud of his determination to succeed and his willingness to do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. In addition to being a great student, Jesus is also an incredible human being. He's kind to everyone, and he shows great compassion. His great sense of humor endears him to anyone who comes into contact with him. Finally, anyone who can find humor in economics right now deserves an award. And you don't have to say it, it just takes a few seconds, about 3 seconds when you meet Jesus, to see the sparkle in his eye and a really broad smile and just a very nice way about him, very pleasant. Comes through loud and clear when you have a chance to work with him some. So have no doubt that he is going to do fantastic things. He will be a wonderful ambassador for our school and our district, and we are very pleased to call him 207's Best from Maine East this month. Who are your guests here tonight?
My mom, Leticia, Gregorio, my dad, my sister, the little one, Maria, and then the middle one, Nancy.
And you had some
Oh yes, I got
fans here
Mr.
too?
Watt, my geology teacher, Miss Salome, my econ teacher, and her daughter.
Very good. And what are your plans next year?
Oh, I don't know yet. I got accepted into Dominican and Amherst College, and I want to study administration, business administration.
Outstanding. Congratulations.
Jesus, congratulations. Audrey?
Yes, I'd like to introduce Maine West candidate for 207's Best, and that is Nicolette Schwartz. And first thing I learned about Nicolette is, do not call her Nicolette, call her Nikki. When I put the email out asking for our counselors actually for who they thought had improved the most since their freshman year, Mr. Nagrzansky came up to me and he said, wait till you see this. I've never seen anything like this in all my years of counseling. Wait till you see this. And he pulled off Nikki's cumulative GPA from freshman year all the way up to senior year. And I have to read it to you because it's absolutely amazing. And it's not one of those cases where Nikki was not a good student her freshman year and then all of a sudden turned things around. This is a progressive improvement that has been absolutely awesome. So freshman year, first grading period, 2.2. Next, 2.3, 2.4, 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, 2.9, 2.9, 2.9, and she has assured me that she's getting nothing less than a B this semester, so she should have that 3.0 by this semester and graduate, with awesome grades, nothing less than a B. And the other thing that you would learn when you talk to Nikki's teachers is every single one of them that I spoke to, 4 of them, said, oh my gosh, she's one of my favorite students. Mr. Trotter included in his written comments about her. She's one of my favorite students this year. Ms. Weiland, her art teacher, said not only is she incredibly talented with a Sharpie marker and with any kind of venue and design materials, but she's one of my favorite students. Mr. Nagrzansky, Nikki is one of my favorite students. She's consistent, but she keeps working just a little bit harder. And you know, it's very difficult to pull up a GPA, you know, that much once you start a little bit lower, and it's hard to get incrementally that high. So from a 2.2 up to a 3.0 this semester is absolutely incredible. Her teachers rave about her. They love having her in class. She's very kind-hearted. She's got a great smile. Just like Jesus, the teachers were all just bubbling about her, saying wonderful things about her, and couldn't wish a better honor on Nikki. So I'm not going to call her by her full name because she doesn't like that, but Maine West is very, very proud of Nikki's graduate accomplishments and her improvement from her freshman year to her senior year. And I'm very proud of you, Nikki Schwartz. I heard you got a great Christmas present this year. So I didn't tell anybody about this, so I heard your mom did something very fun, so tell us what she
wrapped my acceptance letter to Columbia.
Did you hear that? She got accepted to Columbia, and Mom wrapped it for Christmas, and that's how she found out.
It took forever to come in the mail, too, because we were moving during the process, so I was freaking out, but she wrapped it, she hid it, so I started crying again now.
Make me cry. Very cool. And Nikki, what do you want to do at Columbia?
I'm probably going to major in either art design or illustration.
Parents with you?
That's my mom, my
Sorry.
sister, and my boyfriend.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, Nikki Laces and Gabby, I need you to go with Mr. Beery out in the hall, and the principals are going to follow you, so we can get some pictures. Everybody is, of course, welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting, because it's a public meeting. But if you wish to leave, now is your chance to escape from the room. Dwight promises to write everything down so you can read it all in this day. No pressure. Everything, Dwight. Mark, how you doing? We glad you come downtown. Apparently, according to my text, we've got trains all stopped at Union Station. All things are switching.
Well, Joanne texted me that she's behind.
Oh,
I thought you were flying in.
No, last night.
Okay, okay.
where were you, Mark?
Oh, I don't, we were, we did a cruise on New Orleans to make sure.
Her typical destination.
Okay, we're gonna. Communications, are there any public comments that come before the board? Okay, and updates from board members or superintendent? Mr. Superintendent, you got anything?
One thing, we will have, Mary Clue will have some more information in the coming weeks on the agencies that we'll take a look at for the debt collection that we talked about in finance a couple weeks ago. So she'll have some information coming forth on that.
Okay. Eric, can you give us an update on the Finance Committee of December 28th?
Sure. We had a long discussion. Part of it was centered on the collection agency, which again, as Ken mentioned, is still under review. We also looked at some information regarding food service point of sale software, which is kind of routine in nature, and then discussed 2012 to 2013 budget parameters.
Mary, monthly status of finances.
In your board packet is the November financial report. On the revenue side, we've collected about 45% of our revenue. November represents 41.6% through the year. So that's good. The bad news is that the state still hasn't paid us any of the money that they owe us from 2011-2012 year, and that will, I believe, go down to August as a big unknown. On the expenditure side, we're tracking about 34% of our budget expended. We would anticipate in the education fund and some of the other funds to have less than 41% expended because we have so many individuals on 10-month salaries. But we are still tracking very, very close to slightly under budget on the expenditure side. I'll entertain any questions that anybody has on the event financial statements.
No questions? Mary, can you talk to us about the 2012-2013 budget parameters and timeline?
At this time of the year, we present to the board for informational purposes budget parameters. So we've gone through a list of the individual parameters with the bottom line being that we will be developing the 2012-13 budget with a deficit no greater than $1 million plus any changes to the state funding. If the state changes something in the midsummer, we'll be too late to react for next year's budget, so we'll be able with the 12-13 year for any of the state differences that we may approve. The budget timeline is very consistent with last year that has the tentative budget going on display and being presented to the board in July, the public hearing in August, and final adoption in September.
Okay. Any questions on the budget timeline?
I would just note that as part of our discussion at the Finance Committee, the deficit that would be no greater than $1 million is less than 1% of our total budget, which is within tolerance of a balanced budget goal.
Correct. And we would anticipate if by having a $1 million budgeted deficit, our goal would be to turn that into a surplus by the time we get to the end of the year.
I'm a little confused about the dates, like on the right-hand side of the budget timeline. Is this really the 2011 tax budget or is it the 2012 tax budget? I was confused by that.
Well, the budget process starts in November of 2011 with the preparation of the 2011 tax levy that will be collected in the spring and then the fall of 2012. So it really is
The 2011
the
one.
2011. because our budget preparation for next year started
The deck,
in
the
November.
deck these bills people get next year, say 2011, so
Correct.
it actually is a 2011 bill year. So the other thing, and I know these are just assumptions, but I thought it was somewhat presumptuous on the left-hand side to, like, if you look under number 1, expenditures, salary increase, TBD for certified teachers, all other salaries to be increased by board of that approved amounts. Somebody could read that and think that an increase is necessarily, you could say
You
increase.
could actually vote no increase, yes.
Or certainly, you could vote a decrease, I mean, increase or decrease by board approved amounts. And I thought kind of the same thing, that the employee benefits to increase salary per article, that certainly isn't an assumption that I would make, and I know, again, these are, just sort of generalized assumptions, but I think it could be misleading to people who see this to think, people could see that, well, that's the starting point. Whereas, as you know from our meetings that we've had, that's really not the starting point. So, it's a mistake maybe to put those in that fashion. Then finally, at the very end of on the left-hand side of the page, you're talking about options. Are you looking for anything from us, like it says, another option would be to assume a reduction in state funding that may not happen and reduce, so you're not looking for us?
I'm not looking for, but if you didn't like the $1 million, the budget parameters, state funding is, for the foreseeable future, going to be one of our biggest wild cards, because the state is still in financial problems. They haven't addressed them. At some point, they need to, and I would think that inevitably that may mean changes for us.
One last comment, I don't mean to be picky, but if you look at the budget timeline on the right-hand side, in December, not realizing now that we're already talking about the 2011 levy, on December 5th, we actually approved it, and I might have put that in. I mean, there's a reference to preparation and presentation,
Okay.
but there's actually nothing about approving, which we did on December 5th.
Okay, I will add that.
For clarification, when you talk about the employee benefits increase 7% for medical, 4.75 for dental, based on salaries of all the benefits, that is a projection for the 2013 based on your actual experiences last year.
That is absolutely correct.
So it's not.
It's
that
not
there's
an
anything
assumption
specific-
about what will happen, it's just using history as our trend line. That's what the trend.
budgeting purposes.
One last question. Under number 6 on the left-hand side, it says TIP payments are projected to be 50,000. I know that we've had some discussions about that. Is that based on what we currently expect, or is that based on certain requests to reduce our TIP payments?
That is based on what we currently anticipate. We know that this year, we got the $95,000 that was deferred. The $250,000 actually represents a slight decrease, but only because our number of students that they pay tuition on is decreasing.
So it could be less depending on
It could be less depending
the
on,
request that's been made by the city.
well, we've not seen a formal request, but
We have read about it.
Okay, good. Thank you, that's all.
Just to elaborate a little bit on Ed's and Sean's comments, my understanding specifically for item 2 was that was more along the lines of a conservative estimate, which is somewhat akin to a worst-case scenario.
no, actually 7% is what our medical, our 4-year average was.
Right, which, what I'm saying is that for budgeting purposes, that would kind of be the worst
Correct.
situation that
Well,
we could see.
okay, I think part of it is that we're going to have a budget developed without several key components regarding salary and benefits in place, because we'll be developing this budget within the next several months, and we don't know what our collective bargaining agreement looks like. So these are assumptions that we will make. They in no way imply what the collective bargaining agreement will look like.
Good. Okay. Any other questions on the budget parameters? Mr. Superintendent, any update on FOIA requests?
None this month.
Okay. Under the consent agenda, we do not have 7-0 attendance. Is there anybody who wishes to split out the minute approvals? Didn't hear any, none. I'll take the motion on the consent agenda. Lays, second. Burke. Questions or comments on the consent agenda? Which is 6A through E. Hearing none, call the roll.
Burke,
Yes.
McGrath,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye. Paul?
Oh, I'm sorry, Pellet. Sorry.
Board Member Branham had asked that we hold off on the issue of the second reading of policies. So unless there's an objection, I will put that to the end of our current numbered agenda before we go into closed session.
She's en route. She texted me, she must have got caught by training displays. How could that happen?
So the next item, number 8, new club proposal, engineering club in the South. Sean?
We put forward a proposal, they've been in a group for a year. Ms. Kay Wagner will be the person, the teacher in charge. It's actually grown a little bit as a result of our Brother Fleetwood course.
Sean, question on that one. Because it's not a, this is a free sponsor, this is an unpaid stipend.
Unpaid, no stipend, just kids who want to talk more about engineering and pursue some individual projects on their own. Ms. Wagner interested.
Great.
She's the teacher of that class, too, one of the faculty
Yes,
classes.
yeah, and a former engineer
And
herself.
former engineer herself.
Yeah, she's a really role model.
And it's an outgrowth of the Project Lead the Way that we started a few years ago.
Is that the one that we met?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we went over their tax.
Yeah, that's right.
Any other questions?
I would just comment that I think the administration should get together some kind of model bylaws for these organizations, because the bylaws presented are pretty sketchy, to say the least, and it could be problematic at some point in time to do something with it. I mean, they do have procedures for amendment, majority vote, sponsor may veto. I don't think you can veto your own. If you bring it forth, I don't think you can veto at that point in time. So under Rowling, so I think that we should look at some kind of very basic, standardized template form for bylaws for these organizations, so that that they aren't creating problems for themselves later. And so we teach them as they're I mean, this could be a learning experience about how an organization works and how it should operate, and we should try and foster good organizational skills if we can.
That's an excellent idea. Okay, we have a motion that the Board of Education approve the establishment of the engineering club at Maine South High School as outlined in the appendices. Heller, second. Second, McGrath. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, call the roll.
Miller,
Aye.
Keller, McGrath,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Burke,
Yes.
Sullivan.
Aye. Next item is a resolution authorizing intervention proceedings for the State of Illinois Property Tax Appeal Board. Recommendation that the Board of Education approves the resolution authorizing intervention proceedings for the State of Illinois Property Tax Appeal Board as presented. Is there a motion? Lays, second. Burke, questions or comments on the motion?
Mary, can you walk us through this report, the spreadsheet?
Sure. What we've done is track the property tax appeals board intervention request since 2003. And you can see, we've added, I added columns for when we have a case that's settled, what the settlement is, if we had a refund preserved, and the date of the settlement. These claims, as you're aware, a property with an assessed value reduction of greater than $100,000, we get notified, and then we can propose to intervene in those proceedings and provide evidence. So on some of the large ones, we get a third-party appraisal that supports our position. Other times we do, we'll pay for an appraisal review of the evidence, and that's like our starting point. So if we then, based on that appraisal review, if we feel that the appraisal that the property owner has submitted is not a clear indication of value, we'll go get our own appraisal. We split this with our Sender Elementary districts in many cases, so it's a 50-50 split. In some of the municipalities have come to the table to intervene, but it's basically us and the senders, and this tracks our outstanding. These are refunds, so when we talk about property tax collections being less than 100%, what happens is the taxpayers pay their tax bill, and then several years when this case is settled, we pay out several $100,000 per year in terms of refunds.
So this is a district-produced document versus
This
like
is-
Frantic or something?
Frantic provided the initial document, and then I just been updating.
I was wondering, and we've had a report similar to this before, and it's been requested, but maybe it would be helpful. I mean, I support this work for sure, but I think it'd be nice to have like a financial statement for PTAB activities that kind of shows the amount of recovery and then the amount we've spent in legal expenses and appraisal fees. And I'm comfortable voting in favor of it without seeing that, but maybe you could bring one for the current year pretty soon. And then going forward, if possible, it'd be nice if we could have that with the request for approval.
Okay,
Like next year, for example.
yeah, I'll just add it as a bottom line in the spreadsheet by year.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
McGrath.
Aye.
Burke.
Yes.
Lays.
Aye.
Keller.
Yes.
Miller.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye. Next item 10, food service point of sale. Recommendation of the Board of Education approve the purchase of point of sale software for School Link Technology at the cost of $17,910.75, plus estimated shipping and handling cost of $550. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Burke, second. Lays. Questions or comments on the motion?
Just a question, does anybody know what the denominator is? What is it, annual sales that we're talking about that this software's going to cover? Do we know what that is?
Our food service sales are in excess of about 1.5 million,
That's in all schools.
All three schools?
all three schools. But that, keep in mind now, all that revenue goes to Quest and all the expenses are at Quest. We simply are responsible for providing the software system and the equipment.
Are responsible as part of the contract with Quest?
Correct. Because that way, if we ever change providers, we wouldn't have to have to start from the entire infrastructure of our cafeteria systems from scratch.
Yeah, the offset Quest gives us to
Yeah.
pay for this? Okay, any other questions or comments? There is a motion and a second, please call the roll.
McGrath.
Aye.
Burke.
Yes.
Miller. Keller. Lays.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Yes, just a second. 7:32, just so you know, the vote we're in the middle of taking at this point in time is on number 10, the food service point of sale.
Okay.
And the motion was to approve the purchase of software for $17,910.75, plus estimated shipping and handling of $550. Ed's question was, how much is our sales, and our gross sales is approximately 1.5 million in 3 schools, but all that runs through Quest. Whereas we've got an obligation to provide the software, and Mary pointed out the advantages is even if we change providers, this way we wouldn't have to change the point of sale software. It's built into us. Do you wish to vote?
The recommendation is.
To approve the purchase of the software?
Okay. Yes.
And I will vote aye. Okay. Why don't we talk calendar items for a minute before we go back to 7. Questions or comments on the calendar?
And Eldon, I told the group for the buildings and grounds Wednesday morning that we would meet in the foyer.
Okay, very interesting.
Yeah.
I had a question about that meeting. I have some other stuff going on that day. How long should I budget for that?
Mike's not here, I would guess at least an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Or longer.
Because people have a tendency to ask questions as they go through the
Okay.
space.
You think 10 o'clock is pretty reasonable?
Well, that's an hour and
Or
a half.
10:30?
10:30 is probably,
Yeah, that's what we figured is a couple hours.
That's fine, I just want to schedule some.
Well, yeah.
Great building.
Yeah.
McGrath, Lays, and Burke. Done. McGrath, Lays, and Burke. Are the 3 members on that committee. Okay, any other questions or comments on the calendar? Anybody can go.
Anybody know?
No action will be taken. So it's nothing but a tour.
Except when we get to West, Eldon's gonna make a motion that we build a field house.
And I'll approve it.
He says he can second, and provides himself a quorum.
And it'll be out of line. And it'll be immediately denied at the very next meeting. But you two have fun.
This is why we have agendas that are public.
There we go.
You Another guy for trying.
Yeah, wild card 1 and wild card 2. What time did you have tonight, Audrey?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on the agenda? Okay, we're gonna go back to number 7 then. Craig, can you start us with 2322?
Yes, I think that is the job description. Real quickly, with the dissolution of MedSep, we reorganized some of the job responsibilities of the assistant director for special ed and student services position. We have a retirement in that area, and we are simply requesting to make these minor changes prior to posting the job opening, so we can take advantage of a jump, a head start on the hiring season. There are several school districts that have these administrative positions available, open right now, that we're gonna be in competition with.
Okay.
Can you tell me, I don't see changes in this document.
Yes, that was the one that,
Did we have an existing one though?
Or is this a new?
this is a brand new.
Oh, okay.
And one point of, just to clarify, right now, we have a retiring department chair at ARC. And then we have the assistant director retiring in MedSep. So what we're going to do with this position is really in some ways combine different aspects of those two positions. So this person will be the administrator on duty at ARC, but also have a wider array of responsibilities related to the whole special education program. So
And previously, that position was a MedSep position, that's why it's new to us now.
Okay.
yeah,
Is Ron?
Ron is retired. And so we are renaming that position to capture some of the aspects that Patty currently does, but also add particularly the out-of-district placement pieces so that we can leverage perhaps trying to build some things within our own districts. And some of the things we mentioned when we hired Pam last month. So we want to take advantage of that, and that's after consulting with Pam about the, what ifs.
So there's a net of no new administrators.
Yeah, no new.
Just takes
In
the
fact,
existing
there's
one and
actually a
shakes it.
loss because we pay part of Patty Marino's salary. So yes, there is.
Head count.
Well,
Yes.
either way, it's a loss.
Okay, we have a motion to approve policy 2322, which is the job description for the Assistant Director of Special Education and Student Personnel Services, and to waive the first reading.
So moved.
Miller, second, Keller. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
McGrath.
Aye.
Graham.
Yes.
Lees. Miller.
Aye.
Burke.
Yes.
Heller. Sullivan.
Aye. Okay, next item, 5415 grading system. Mr. Deeds, want to do an introduction?
I'm gonna let Barb take this one, since this falls under value.
Well, we brought this to you for a first reading at the last meeting. This is coming out of the Ed Committee recommendation. Proposals center around eliminating the calculation of a class rank effective with the graduating class of 2013. You've seen these policies before. We've brought before you studies, research, opinions, and I guess if you have any further questions or comments.
Is there a motion to approve the change to 5415 grading system? Burke, second. Graham.
They're all really looking just one together.
That'd be fine with me. I split the first one because it was waived in the first reading, but I got no problem doing it all together. Okay? Then you want to make a motion on 5415, 5422, 5423, and 5425?
Actually, it was out of
You're okay with that?
Yeah.
And second, so Burke and Graham all. Okay, weighted grade point, 5422.
They're all part of the same
So you've got,
package coming forward.
okay. Questions, comments?
I would just offer that I've really carefully considered my position related to class rank over the last year, I guess, and I originally had supported kind of the position where class rank will still be available to parents and students, later learning that was not tenable. After some consultations with college admissions officers, we reverted back to, again, having a class rank. My overall concerns with eliminating class rank is that it lowers some of the academic indicators that we have available to parents and students in order to gauge how they're doing in our school district. And I balance that against the information that I've heard that many other school districts have already eliminated it, and also that in some cases, what I've heard, although I don't necessarily agree, is that it would be a bonus to the college admissions process not to have it. But at the same time, I think that class rank is important. I think it's something that students need to own. You know, I went through one of the schools in this district, and I was not at the very top of my class. I was more in the middle, but it was my class rank. You know, and that's where I stood, and I think that it's important to maintain that in District 207. And I think that just because some other school districts have done away with it, that doesn't mean that we need to do away with it. So I intend to vote against this group of policy changes related to eliminating class rank.
I'd like to make a comment also. From all the research we've done, which is extensive, it appears to me that maintaining class rank will hurt some students. We have yet to find any evidence where doing away with class rank hurts any students. Therefore, I'll be voting for the change.
I'm not going to repeat everything I've said. I'm against that. I've been to one or two of the committee meetings. I think we've discussed it at least once, if not twice, at prior board meetings. One thing I would like to do, though, is make part of the record my list of reasons for voting against it. So I'd like that to go into the materials from this meeting, and I'd also like the minutes to reflect that the reasons I'm voting against those set forth in a document that I made part of the minutes. Last meeting I asked if anybody needed it. I've got extra copies of once, but I think it's all repetitious. It's the same things I've said before, so I just wanted to be on the record as to why I'm voting against it.
Okay, and since the minutes are a summary document.
I didn't say the minutes. I would like this to be in the materials from the meeting, and the minutes to refer to the fact that the reasons I voted against it is per the document, that made part of the record of the meeting, not the minutes. It's too long for the minutes, I recognize that, John.
Okay, but I'm just going to read the headlines that you bolded here, just for a summary for the minutes.
Okay.
1 is class rank is valid information for students and parents. 2, it is valid information for admissions officers. 3, admissions officers understand that there are high-performing students and other schools. 4, class rank help.
High-performing schools and other schools.
High-performing schools and other schools. Class ranks help people select the right college. Class rank helps deserving kids get scholarships. And 6, hiding class rank does not result in more admissions to universities. Other comments?
Let me know.
I have a couple of comments. I wish that our solution from last year had worked. I think something that would allow us to continue to provide class rank where desired is actually preferable to elimination. I think that as an educational institution, we should be as transparent about academic achievement as possible, and that academic achievement would be as public an achievement as any other kind of achievement. And I think class rank helps highlight that. I'm sure there's many parents who are not aware of how their child is performing relative to their peers without class rank. So you think your kid is doing good, but I mean, I know my parents, we came to the U.S. when I was a small kid. My parents had no idea about what class rank was, or what were good grades, or what was going to get a kid into college. And parents who are not sophisticated in these issues will not understand where their child is without class rank. But despite these reservations, I think that the issue of a student being disadvantaged, and I agree with Eldon's point here, we have, I think, at least strong anecdotal evidence that students are disadvantaged, and no evidence that students will be disadvantaged by the elimination of class rank. I think it's unacceptable to disadvantage a student when we're in a position to fix it. So, despite the fact that I think class rank is valid, I think it's as Eric says, students should own that. and that we should be transparent about our academics, I'm still gonna vote in favor of this because I don't think we should be disadvantaging anyone if we're in a position to fix that. And that's the only reason I'm voting for it. I think otherwise, if we could have it any way where we wouldn't disadvantage anyone and still maintain class rank, I would vote to maintain it, despite what any other district does. I don't, you know, just because if every other district did it, and we thought still it was best for our students, I still think we should keep it. It's not, but I'm not following the herd. But I'm still gonna, I am gonna vote in favor.
So you wouldn't jump off the bridge just because all your
No,
friends
no. I wouldn't.
Mom would be proud of you.
Push somebody off the bridge, but
Let me say, I wish I had Margaret's question.
I agree.
Without even knowing.
just for law school. Nothing else.
Just a quick comment, I just wanted to say that at first when this issue came up, I was really on the fence. I didn't, you know, if this is going to be a good thing or a bad thing for our kids and for our district, but after all the research that we received and reviewed thoroughly, I believe it's the right thing to do. I just think we're hurting too many kids if we were to maintain the class rank, and that's what this is all about. And as Margaret said, we have no evidence, as Eldon has said as well, that this is going to hurt anybody. So I just think it's the right thing to do, and I think I'm just glad we're finally getting at this.
I guess it's a luncheon. I would vote for my experiences as a high school teacher. I don't see in my past where a class rank made a student work really hard. I don't remember a parent being more concerned about the class rank, with the exception of maybe some of the classes. It didn't make that much of a difference. And now that schools are being forced into looking at the academics achievement of the kids and the other things that are required for them to do in the extracurricular or something, to me, it makes much more sense to say, good classroom. It doesn't seem to really help anybody, but it does really hurt a lot of our kids that are probably real good. I mean, the ones right at the top, they're AP, A's, colleges are like, come to me, we want you. It's our middle of the road kids that might be turned away from a really decent school, especially when you look at South, somebody who's maybe in the middle of the class at South with really decent, you know, B- grades, and somebody coming from another school that is not as ranked as high would really be disadvantaged, and that bothers me a great deal. So I don't want any of our kids to be turned away from a decent school.
Okay. The motion is on 54-15, 54-22, 54-23, and 54-25 as a group. Please call roll.
Lays,
No.
McGrath,
Aye.
Burke,
Yes.
Miller,
No.
Graham,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes.
Sullivan.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, any other communications to come before the board? Okay. Mr. Dees, do you have any student personnel?
No student personnel.
Okay. Can we have a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of review of closed session minutes, appointment, employment, compensation, performance, discipline of specific employees, collective negotiating matters, and setting the price for sale of lease of real property. Is there a motion? Probably, is there a second? Second, Graham. Questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Lays, Graham,
Yes.
Miller, Burke,
Yes.
McGrath, Keller, Sullivan.
Aye. It's 7:49, we are in closed session.